What if I told you that everything you've been taught about impressing women is not only wrong, but actually working against you? You've been told to try harder, give more, and constantly prove your worth. But here's the truth. The less you do for a woman, the more she will naturally want to do for you. Sounds counterintuitive, right? But this isn't about playing games or manipulation. It's about understanding the psychology of attraction, the dynamics of respect, and how relationships work in today's world. When you stop overextending yourself and start valuing your time, energy, and presence, something incredible happens. She begins to see you as a high-value man, someone worth her attention and effort. Stick with me, because once you learn how to embrace this mindset, you'll not only gain her respect, but completely change the way you approach relationships forever. Section 1. The psychology of scarcity. Why do people line up for hours to buy the newest iPhone or pay premium prices for limited edition sneakers? The answer is simple: scarcity. Humans instinctively value things that are rare and difficult to obtain, and this principle applies to relationships as well. When you make yourself too available to a woman, you're unintentionally signaling that your time, attention, and energy aren't particularly valuable. Think about this in terms of human nature. When something or someone is hard to get, our brains perceive it as more valuable. This is rooted in basic survival instincts. If a resource is rare, it must be important. In relationships, a man who constantly showers a woman with attention or bends over backward to please her is sending the message that he's not a scarce resource. Instead, he's signaling that he has nothing better to do with his time. This may sound harsh, but it's how people, especially women, subconsciously process behavior. Women today are bombarded with attention from all angles: social media likes, DMs, compliments from strangers, and more. The man who stands out isn't the one trying to outcompete everyone else by doing more. It's the man who values himself enough to do less. By giving her space and not overwhelming her with your presence, you create a sense of intrigue. She starts wondering why you're not chasing her like everyone else, and that curiosity can evolve into attraction. However, this doesn't mean you should play games or act aloof to manipulate her interest. It's about genuinely understanding your value and showing through your actions that your time and energy are precious. Scarcity is not about withholding affection out of spite. It's about maintaining self-respect and letting her see that you're a high-value man who doesn't need to chase anyone for validation. Section 2. The power of self-focus now. Let's talk about why doing less isn't just about her. It's about you. Women today aren't just looking for someone who's present. They want someone with purpose. A man who is fully focused on his goals and growth exudes a natural confidence that is impossible to fake. This doesn't mean you need to be a millionaire or a CEO, but it does mean that your life should have direction. Women are drawn to men who have something bigger going on in their lives than just trying to impress them. When you invest your time and energy into building yourself, whether it's advancing in your career, improving your fitness, or mastering a skill, you automatically become more attractive. Why? Because you're demonstrating self-worth. You're showing that you have priorities, ambitions, and a life outside of her. This creates a dynamic where she has to work to be part of your world, rather than you trying to prove that you're worthy of hers. In today's generation, where independence and self-sufficiency are highly valued, women respect men who are focused on their personal growth. A man who constantly seeks validation from her by doing too much comes across as needy and insecure. On the other hand, a man who is driven and self-assured doesn't need to chase anyone's approval. This is the kind of man women want to align themselves with. Not because he demands it, but because his actions naturally command it. Self-focus also has another powerful benefit. It protects you from over-investing in situations that may not serve you. By prioritizing your goals and passions, you set the tone that your life is full and meaningful, with or without her presence. This isn't about being cold or detached. It's about showing that you're a man of substance. Ironically, the less you depend on her for your happiness, the more she'll feel compelled to be part of your life. The key is balance. While it's important to focus on yourself, it doesn't mean ignoring her or neglecting the relationship entirely. When you do give her attention, it should be intentional, meaningful, and reflective of the high value you place on yourself. This way, your actions will resonate with her and show her that you're a man worth investing in. And she'll appreciate you more because she knows that your time and effort are genuinely earned, not given away freely. Section 3. The power of boundaries. Boundaries are the cornerstone of any healthy relationship, yet many men fail to establish them. Why? Because they believe that by being overly accommodating or bending over backward, they'll win a woman's affection. In reality, the opposite is true. Women are far more attracted to men who know their limits and aren't afraid to enforce them. Boundaries aren't about being controlling. They're about respecting yourself enough to say no when necessary. For example, if she's constantly late to plans, cancels last minute, or expects you to rearrange your schedule for her convenience, a high-value man sets a boundary. He communicates clearly and respectfully that his time is valuable and won't be wasted. Women respect men who hold themselves to a higher standard, even if it means standing firm in uncomfortable situations. Today's generation of women is used to being in control of their own lives. They don't want a man they can walk all over. They want someone who challenges them and holds them accountable. Boundaries show her that you value yourself, which in turn makes her value you more. By doing less and not compromising your standards, you command a level of respect that passive behavior can never achieve. Section 4. Detachment from validation. One of the biggest traps men fall into is seeking constant validation from women. Whether it's fishing for compliments, asking for reassurance, or going out of your way to impress her, this behavior screams insecurity. The modern woman, who's often confident and independent, picks up on this instantly and loses interest. Detachment from validation means being secure in who you are, regardless of what anyone else thinks. When you're no longer reliant on her approval to feel good about yourself, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of chasing her attention. This kind of inner confidence is incredibly attractive because it's rare. Most men are so focused on proving their worth to women that they forget to prove it to themselves. Think of it this way. A man who is centered and self-assured doesn't need constant affirmation. His value isn't dependent on external factors, and this creates an aura of strength and independence. Women today are drawn to men who are emotionally stable and confident enough to stand on their own. By doing less to seek her approval, you give her the opportunity to naturally gravitate toward you. Section 5. The art of mystery. One of the most overlooked qualities in modern dating is the power of mystery. In a world where everyone overshares on social media and craves instant connection, being mysterious is a breath of fresh air. Doing less doesn't mean being disinterested. It means keeping parts of yourself private and letting her work to uncover them. For instance, avoid the temptation to lay all your cards on the table in the early stages of dating. Instead of bombarding her with texts, give her space to wonder about you. Let her initiate conversations or ask questions to learn more about you. When you withhold some details about your life, you create a sense of intrigue that keeps her engaged. Women today are accustomed to getting answers immediately. A man who doesn't reveal everything at once stands out. Mystery builds excitement and anticipation, two emotions that are crucial for building attraction. Remember, the less you reveal, the more curious she'll become, and curiosity is a powerful driver of interest. Section 6. Emotional stability is key. In today's fast-paced world, emotional stability is an underrated quality. Women are often navigating their own challenges, careers, personal growth, social pressures, and the last thing they want is to manage someone else's emotional turmoil. When you're constantly overthinking, overreacting, or overextending, you're showing emotional instability that can quickly turn her off. Doing less allows you to maintain your emotional balance. Instead of chasing her or reacting to every little thing she does, you stay calm and composed. This stability demonstrates that you're in control of your emotions and don't rely on her actions to determine your mood. Women respect and admire men who can remain steady, especially in situations where others might lose their cool. Emotional stability also ties back to self-respect. When you're secure in who you are, you don't let minor setbacks or misunderstandings derail your confidence. Instead, you approach challenges with patience and perspective, showing her that you're a grounded individual. This kind of inner peace is magnetic, especially in a world filled with chaos and drama. Section 7. Actions speak louder than words. Another common mistake men make is over-explaining or over-promising to women. They think that by talking more or making big gestures, they'll win her over. However, women are far more interested in actions than words. Doing less doesn't mean doing nothing. It means being intentional with your actions and showing your value through what you do, not just what you say. When you consistently follow through on your commitments and demonstrate your values through your behavior, you prove your worth without needing to talk about it. Words are easy. Actions require effort. A man who stands by his actions commands respect and attention, while a man who simply talks about what he'll do often comes across as insincere. Means letting your actions speak for you. For example, instead of constantly telling her how much you care, show it through small, meaningful gestures. This could be as simple as remembering her favorite coffee order or being genuinely present during conversations. On the flip side, avoid overcompensating with grand displays of affection, especially early on. These can come across as desperate rather than genuine. Modern women value authenticity. They don't want a man who's trying too hard to impress them. They want someone whose actions align with his words. Naturally, by doing less and focusing on consistency, you build trust and admiration over time. Let her see your character through what you do, not just what you say. Section 8. The freedom to walk away. One of the most powerful things you can do in any relationship is to show that you're willing to walk away. This doesn't mean being dismissive or cold. It means valuing yourself enough to leave a situation that isn't serving you. Women are instinctively drawn to men who don't fear losing them because it shows confidence and self-respect. When you do less, you're not clinging to the relationship out of fear or insecurity. You're showing her that you have options and that your life is full and meaningful without her. This creates a dynamic where she feels compelled to invest in the relationship because she knows you won't tolerate being taken for granted. In today's dating world, where people often settle out of fear of being alone, the ability to walk away is a rare and attractive trait. It's a reminder that you're a high-value man who won't compromise his standards just to keep someone around. Ironically, the more you're willing to walk away, the more likely she is to stay. Section 9. Quality over quantity. Lastly, doing less is about focusing on quality over quantity in your interactions. Instead of constantly texting her or trying to fill every moment with conversation, prioritize meaningful moments that leave a lasting impression. A well-timed compliment, a thoughtful question, or a genuine smile can have a far greater impact than hours of superficial chatter. Women today are looking for depth in relationships. They don't want constant attention. They want meaningful attention. By doing less, you're able to focus on creating moments of real connection, rather than trying to fill the void with unnecessary effort. This makes your interactions more memorable and impactful. Doing less also gives her space to miss you. When you're not always available, she has time to reflect on the positive moments you've shared. This reflection builds anticipation and appreciation, strengthening the bond between you. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about letting the relationship breathe and develop naturally. Section 10. The magnetism of purpose. One of the most attractive traits a man can have in today's generation is a sense of purpose. Women are naturally drawn to men who are passionate about something bigger than themselves. A career, a dream, a mission. When you're focused on your purpose, you become magnetic, not because you're trying to be, but because your energy is directed towards something meaningful. Here's the key. When you're actively working on your goals, you're demonstrating ambition, discipline, and self-respect. All qualities that women find irresistible. A man with purpose doesn't have time to obsess over every little detail of a relationship. He's not constantly checking his phone for her texts or overanalyzing her responses. Instead, he's building a life that excites him, and in turn, she wants to be part of it. Think about how this plays out in the modern dating landscape. Women today are independent, ambitious, and looking for partners who match their drive. A man without purpose comes across as stagnant or needy, while a man with purpose radiates confidence and security. By doing less for her and more for your goals, you're showing that you're a man who knows where he's going, and that kind of certainty is rare and powerful. The less you do, the more value you create. If this resonated, like, comment, and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom. Stay grounded and keep leveling up.